So I've made over 300 option plays already in 2021, and in this video I'm going to dive deep into every single option play I've ever made, show you if I'm winning, if I'm losing, some of my best trades, some of my worst trades, and everything in between. Tell you what I learned so that you can learn from what I've done if you are moving forward in your options trading career. Inside my Discord, guys, and on my new live stream YouTube channel, Bradfin Live, I get asked all the time about like specific options. They know I trade a ton of options, and I get asked like, do you keep track of all of your options? And the answer is, of course I do. I am a spreadsheet fiend. I live for the spreadsheet. Of course, I have tracked every single option play that I have made so far, not only last year, but this year. And there's a couple reasons why I do that. It can be a little bit overkill. It looks like a ton of work if you look at the full body of work altogether, but when you do it a little by little over time, it really helps you see current trends, if you're rushing, things like that. So let's dive into this spreadsheet in particular. And like I said, we'll sort some things, we'll sort some columns, and I'll show you my leaps options, poor man's covered calls, the wheels, and everything. In addition to that, I get asked all the time, how much money do I invest as opposed to like the percentage of my income and things like that. Guys, I also track every single time I put money into an investment account, whether it's a Roth IRA or a brokerage. I don't really do my retirement like pre-tax things because that's kind of automatic. If we just get through this quickly, I'll show you so far this year, I've invested $30,688, which is an average of $4,091 on top of my retirement savings in my 403b and my 457. Right now, my take-home income for the year, not including my businesses, so this is just my W-2 income, guys, $45,000. My wife, $24,000. So far in the year, $470 with the dividends. So as a family, we've brought in $70,616. So we're investing about 43% of our income. And that doesn't include the cash that we're saving in emergency funds, the cash that we're saving for real estate investments, as well as close to $40,000 that we've put in our 403b and 457, guys. And this did not happen overnight. This happened a little over time, a little bit every year. We built it up, but it is very, very possible to do this on, like I'm showing you, a teaching salary. None of the money that went into my brokerage accounts is from my businesses, nothing. This is strictly W-2 income that was invested inside investment portfolios. All right, so here is that massive spreadsheet, guys, and this is pretty much just sorted right now by date. So if I scroll through here, you're going to see a number of different things. And like I said, it looks like a jumbled mess. I'm going to show you how organized it is. And guys, I leave all my spreadsheets inside Discord. This one is not in Discord yet. If you are a member of my Discord, leave in the comments section down below if you want me to add this and you guys can download it and use it. Right now, everything is manually put in here except for the current share price. So let's go across the top real quick. The date, ticker, everything. If I'm buying or selling calls and puts, that needs to be in here. The current strike price, the share price I list here, which is brought in from Google Finance, that is just going to tell me on a regular basis or right now if that thing is in the money or out of the money. If we get to the bottom of this spreadsheet, we can see right now, I can see if my green, the ones that are still open, if these things are in the money or out of the money according to their current share price. Expiration, days till expiration. We love days till expiration because that's how I know when I'm going to be closing leaps and things like that. And it also lets me know when theta is helping me when I'm selling calls and things like that. The length that I have them open, I'm just curious about like how long do I keep options open? It's a question like, do I sell weeklies, monthlies? How long do I sell leaps? Just good to have an idea. And when we look at the average of all of these options, how long I've had them open, what do you think? If you're at this point in the video, leave it down in the comment section. How long do you think is the average length that I keep an option contract open for? What I opened it for, what I closed it for, the net, those are pretty much self-explanatory. The date at which I close them is going to help me see the length that I have them open. All of these are formulas and they're just created and done automatically for you. The basis, pretty much what it costs me to get into that option. The return on investment. So guys, you can calculate return on investment. I was back and forth in my Discord about this. How do we calculate this accurate? I'm just going to tell you how I do it. You can do it however you want. But the way I looked at it was I said, all right, well, I had this contract for 98 days open. I made $309 on the $790 investment I made. That's where I'm going to get that 39% year on investment. Then pretty much I divide the year by this 98 and it gives me the annual if I was to keep repeating this over and over again. And that return on investment versus annual return on investment, that's a really big deal because if we look at the short picture, a covered call that I own for 2 days or 4 days, the return right now isn't going to look like a lot. But if you replicate this 300 times over the year, you get closer to that annual return on investment number. That's really the one that I focus on. All right, guys, so the first thing I've sorted this by was ticker, the company, and also the date that I placed this trade. So at the top, Apple, guys, and you can see this is a poor man's covered call. This is how I identify my poor man's covered call. I highlight them in yellow so I know if they're open. I also know that all those calls under it until I close that particular option are associated with that poor man's covered call. We can see that this was an Apple buy call. I did this one in February. I closed it a little bit. I only held this one for 171 days. And to be honest, this is when I found out that I was over leveraged inside Apple. I made a video about that a little while back. So I closed it even at this small 1% return. But guys, I held it for almost half the year. So really, I just took a minus 2.7% loss. Not a big deal, guys. Sometimes it's okay to take a loss, especially 2%. This is essentially break even for me, especially when we're taking our net premiums for the year. If anything, this was just a capital gains loss that will wash out some of my gains. That's not a very, very big deal for me. So once I close this, I take the net premiums of all of the calls and I just make one net premium. So I have one return on investment and one annual return as opposed to having all of these filled in. If that leaps option is not closed yet, you'll see in a second, I keep all of that net premium for each call, and then after I'm done, after I close the leaps, then I start to delete stuff. If we come down here, we can see an Apple call. The reason why this Apple call is not a part of it is because this was an actual call in a portfolio where I held 100 shares. So I did a little bit better on this one, 88%. I held this one for 8 days, guys. So I got almost 2% on this call option in just 8 days. Another leaps option that I've used this year, guys, is AbbVie. Started them in February. I closed them out in April. I held this for 62 days. That was good for a 17% gain or just about 100% annual return on investment. I initially bought the leaps for $1,640, and at the end of the day, with all of the calls, I got myself into a position where I made $280. I recently in August sold an AMC put. That was good for 3% over the course of 10 days, 113% annual return. This is Afria, guys. I made 488%. I just held that for 1 day. Kind of saw some things with the chart that allowed me to do that. APXD, which is since merged, guys, this is probably one of my biggest losses. And the point that I want to make, I've talked about APXT in the past. I'll talk about it again, guys. I pretty much was drinking one night late on YouTube, watching YouTubers and things like that. And APXT started coming up a lot. And I made this move without doing any research. And it cost me $421. You know, lesson learned for $421. It could have been a lot worse. But yeah, that would, if I kept doing that, I'd be in a lot of trouble. I lost 65% on this investment. I put up $640. I was able to recuperate about $200 with covered calls. But right after this, the thing tanked. Lesson learned, guys. Dropbox is one of the first leaps options I ever did. So this is December 4th of last year. I held this for just about 100 days with all of the calls and everything. 39%, 145% annual return. Intel was my most recent put that is still open. I got $450 for that particular option. I did Coca-Cola, just one call. I looked at the premiums and things like that. It just wasn't worth the investment. This $890, making $5, $10 every single week wasn't going to be worth it. But still, over the course of that 13 days, I made 10% on Coke, a $228 annualized return. Nokia, another quick decision without doing any due diligence, guys, 127. This is when the AMC GameStop thing, and just like APXT, I started listening to everybody else and doing what everybody else was doing, and boom, this shot cost me $190. So far, by going on the internet and listening to YouTubers, I'm down about $600. When I do my own due diligence, I'm making hundreds of percents annualized returns. So point being, just because I'm making these and all these tickers, don't listen to me. I am a donkey on the internet. Do your own due diligence, because if you listen to me, you could be talking about things like APXC or Nokia in one of your future videos. And guys, I also keep all of these leaps options and my wheels on a separate spreadsheet. It brings everything in so I can keep track of things like profits and break even. This one's a little bit more specific, where this one is just a general trend that I'm liking to run. Right now, Starbucks is still also open. I've done 2 of those. I opened and closed this one, got 6% for 150 annualized return. I got away from it. When I closed this, I closed it on 2.5, and then I waited a couple months into May when I was ready to dive back into Starbucks again. I thought I was getting them at a pretty good value, but we can see a much different premium that I had to pay, a little bit different expiration. I went out about another year, but so far right now, I wonder how much I've recuperated in that. Let's go up to Starbucks and we can see on my other one. So Starbucks right now, I'm at a net of $2,967. So I've made almost $231 back on calls on that particular option play. Tattoo Chef it's been tough, but I'm in for the long haul. That's why we have leaps, guys. If we look at Tattoo Chef over here, I've only made about $45 back on that. So my net premium is $840 there. Not too big of a deal. I'll take that, but you know, Tattoo Chef is another one I'm very super bullish on. Vail I owned for 51 days. I got 18% on that 51 days, $125. If I continue to do that over and over again, annual return 134.5%. And then the Voozi plays. The Voozi plays. Some of them are closed already, my $7.50 ones. I did pretty good on those 750, 16% and 92%. Right now, currently, I have 2 $5 calls that are still open that expire in 2023, guys. I've done a video just about my leaps options with Voozi. I'll link those down in the description or in the comment section. You can go back and see exactly my turns on, but you can see a ton of Voozi plays. These are still open, guys. These are covered calls inside another portfolio. And Waste Management is also another leaps that I just opened on 7/28 and then I'm working on right now. At the bottom, just to stay organized because I'm not wheeling as much. I am primarily dealing with just leaps. I keep these open just so I can keep an eye on them. Anything that's, you know, attainable needs to be measurable. So I like to track everything. This is 168 lines of things, but I didn't just sit down and write this. I do it maybe every couple weeks or every week or so, depending. You can make a spreadsheet like this, or you can just take mine and start inputting your data over time. If we get down to the bottom, guys, here's some numbers that I know you're probably thinking about. Average days held 14.7, and that includes the short calls and the leaps as well. So I'm holding contracts for about 15 days, and as I purchase more and more leaps, I'm going to definitely be raising that number up. The net premium right now, $3,678, and you might be saying to yourself, that is not a ton of money at all. If we look at my Robinhood portfolio on the first of the year, it started with $8,202 in there. It's currently at $11,740 in value. So if we look at that $3,600, like this is a hobby for me. We know this, right? If you've been following the channel. So to make $3,600 when I started with 82, that's a pretty good return for me. And that does not include all of the value of the options that I have open. Just for this video and this sake, I went in and I just looked at what the current value of the options were today. I'm not up on all of them, but this one's almost doubled. This one I'm on the green. This Tattoo Chef, I'm down about 300, but this is up a couple hundred. This is up a couple hundred. So this net premium, most likely, if all of these options and these leaps continue to go in the right way, that's going to be good for me. My average return on my single calls and my single plays is 1.36%. So we talk about getting like close to that 8 to 10% a month if you're wheeling. You can do that, and with the leaps options, I think it's going to be a little bit lower because there's more long-term gratification. But that means that every 14 days, essentially, I'm getting 1.36%. And if we do this over and over again, as I mentioned earlier in the video, we're going to get ourselves to that 100% return that I'm looking for this year. The Robinhood portfolio, especially with the dip in Voozi most recently, killing the portfolio. It's dropped down under 100% for the first time in a real long time right now at 94%. Guys, this was just a full disclosure video. Really not a ton to learn, but if you do have any questions, please leave them down in the comments section below. If you want a more inner looks at what I'm thinking and why I'm making these plays, the Discord is the great place to do so, or you can just jump onto Bradfin Live, my new YouTube channel. I'm going to go live every couple days and talk about the moves that I'm making. You subscribe over there and hit the bell. And until I see you guys on the next one, stay positive, work really, really hard. Always, please be kind to other people. I hope you have yourself an amazing day and an even better tomorrow.